Hey, this is Matt. I'm here with Bob James of Silent Theory. He's joining us this evening from Idaho, and we're just going to talk a little bit about some of their music and the new single or the new theoretically speaking acoustic sessions volume one. So, Bob, I know we've already done our introductions, but again, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thank you for being on, man. I appreciate it. You know, I I actually listened to the speaking of theoretically speaking, I listened to the first song, which really grabbed me. But then I was like, okay, I got to look into these guys and see what your other music's about. And uh, Shaking Cages, I checked out and uh, really dug it. Um, your singer has a very unique voice, Dakota, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. He has a very unique voice, and then you know, he gets into the unclean lyrics, which I really enjoyed. You guys got a great sound. I mean, and I'm looking here. I mean, Shaking Cages has been out for 1 year, and you're already at 2.9 million views on
Yeah.
YouTube. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. YouTube has been I mean, a lot of people have strong critiques about YouTube and understandably, but it's done very well for us. Because of platforms like YouTube, we have a fan base in like Brazil and have a small contingent in like Germany and stuff like that. And so it's just allowed us to reach audiences that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to get to.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is. I kind of had my issue with him because, like, I did an interview with Tommy Vex from Bad Wolves, and
Yep.
was like super hyped about it and everything. And the interview went phenomenal, and it was up for 36 minutes before they took it down because
Yeah.
he said
Wow.
something about the vaccine.
Mm.
So yeah, I was a little unhappy about that, but I just posted it to my website, so it's not getting as many views
Yeah.
as would have if it was on YouTube. But whatever. So I checked out Shaking Cages, Fragile Minds, The Price. I mean, all great songs. This is back in 2021. Um, so was all this pre-COVID and you released it in 2021, or did you guys actually work on it during COVID?
It a little bit of both. So Fragile Minds has actually been out. That was our first single we released with Dakota. We released that in 2016.
Mm,
And that one's just been that's our workhorse. That's really gotten us into a lot of doors. And thankfully, songs like Shaking Cages are definitely picking up the slack and helping continue that momentum. But we had a few songs that we had recorded and had released as singles, or at least planned on releasing as singles. But like when everything shut down and we couldn't tour, we decided to make the most of the opportunity and scheduled a bunch of studio time. And so we recorded the rest of the album during quarantine because couldn't do anything else. So,
yeah.
but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I honestly I feel like I mean COVID was a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? On one side, you guys didn't get to tour, you didn't get to, go out and get your bread and butter, or as somebody told me their gas money. But you also got to spend time, making music. And I would think with a lot of people that I've talked to, it was more because they were happy about that because it was a shutdown. They were consolidated, they couldn't run around or anything. Everybody was, doing like you and I are now, Zoom in or, sending it via email, whatever. And they were writing really quality music, and I can see that in your songs, man. I mean, those three songs there, just like I said, I was pretty blown away, especially Shaking Cages. I just for some reason that hook on that one just got me.
yeah, it gets everybody. It's actually like it kind of blew our minds because we are not TikTokers or anything like that. We hardly use Instagram. Like we all do it kind of for the band, but like none of us are super into it in our personal lives.
Right.
But somewhere like 2 months ago, somebody made a one of those like sound clips that gets used like over and over again, like using a clip from Shaking Cages, and so that song's just been blown up everywhere. just getting a second life, so to speak, because we ran the radio campaign for it last year and stuff. So it's kind of nice to see it get new legs and see the youth picking up on it. At least I assume it's the youth. Like I said, we're not TikTokers, so
Right.
uh, but it's I mean, that is honestly one of the best things about Dakota, because you mentioned his voice, which we absolutely love. His influence has definitely come through, as far as like he grew up listening to Linkin Park and Chevelle and Tool and all that kind of stuff, and like I feel like all those elements kind of come through one way or another through his vocals.
Mm-hmm.
But he has such a great way of telling a story that like is really specific, but also ambiguous enough that people can apply it to their own lives. And then well, he just writes catchy hooks, like really good melodies and stuff. So it's working out for us.
Hell yeah. So another thing that I've seen is that you guys worked with Paul Crosby Management. He's a founding member of Saliva.
Yes, sir.
You
That
know that.
is,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
that was a weird one. Because that's one of those like, just I'm dating myself here a little bit, but like, Mitch and Scott and I and George a little bit. George was into some weird country music at the time, but um but like when Saliva came out, like that was like right when Mitch, Scott and I were really getting into playing music. Like I hadn't met them yet. They're brothers, so they knew each other. Um,
Right.
but like that was a band that like really kind of had an impact on like how I listen to music and the type of music I listen to. And so like one day we were, just doing some stuff online, and the band account got a message or an email from somebody saying they were Paul Crosby, and they had come across our music and wanted to potentially work with us. And so Mitch and I were just going back and forth like, this is a joke, right? We're being catfished. Like, there's no way this is real. And then we did a little more digging and had a conversation with him. We're like, holy shit, that's Paul Crosby. Like that's the guy. Mitch is like, I have his signature on my wall. It's weird, but like awesome. But he's been great to us. Like he's just, his industry experience that he's been able to share with us has been absolutely pivotal. And he's just a good friend. Like he's just a really good dude. Like he's got that southern hospitality in him, and I don't know, I really like having him in our camp.
Yeah, yeah. He is now. Is he still an active member of Saliva?
uh Kind of comes and goes.
I just met him recently. Uh,
I think he recently has stepped away because he's been playing in a band with his son called the Cold Wards.
okay,
And they've got some traction going right now, and so I think he's stepped away to do that. But
okay.
that I think Saliva will always be a part of his life, and so he kind of steps in and out when he has time.
Is he the drummer?
Yeah, Paul's a drummer.
Yeah, yeah, I did. I just met him. I actually went to it was Saliva, otherwise Ninth Planet Out, and some crazy band that reminded me of like Green Jelly, Pariah. And
That's a throwback.
yeah, and so I'd already done like a Zoom interview with Bobby, and then I did a live one with him, and Paul was talking to me down by the merch stand, and when I who was I think it was Ninth Planet Out, he was managing them because when I sent a message, he says, "Hey, this is Paul. If you want to get with Ninth Manage Out or Ninth Planet Out, I'll get you connected." And then Adrian from Otherwise, man, that dude was a cool cat. So, but let's talk about theoretically speaking, man, the acoustic sessions. So, what is it? Disintegrate was, I think, the one song that I listened to first. Then I figured, I go on down and check out Fragile Minds because I already listened to the one version of it, and the Shaking Cages acoustic. I mean, it was that's why I had to go back. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, okay, these guys gotta. I want to hear this. If they did it metal, I want to hear it, and I mean, it's pretty kick ass, man.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a lot of fun for us because I mean we come from all different musical backgrounds. I mean I grew up, like my first musical instruments were orchestral instruments. I played viola and cello and stuff in elementary school through high school. And then I got into rock and rap a little bit in that time frame, and got really into pop punk and stuff. And then Scott went through a phase where he only listened to Kiss and to Queen and that kind of stuff, like just the really big guitars and epic guitar solos and things. And of course, Mitch is a Rush fan, as you might assume, being a drummer. But and then George has come and gone from country and jazz and all kinds of other weird stuff. So like our backgrounds are all pretty different and stuff, and we really like to bring that into the music we write. And so like, especially if you listen to our last full length album, um, it's kind of this amalgamation where like all the songs have a little bit different feel to them. They're all in my opinion, definitively Silent Theory, but there's a song on there that's basically country. There's a song on there that's a little bit more ballady, like rock heavy, and then just like some solid heavy tunes. And so when we've always talked about doing an acoustic thing, and we're like, screw it, let's do it. We got some studio time. We're not quite ready to push out some songs, and we don't want to record something we're not ready to record. And so we put together some acoustic sets of these, and it was fun because it gave us an opportunity to really dig into the vault and pull out some songs we haven't played in years, like Disintegrate and Livin' the Dream. So yeah.
So just I guess volume 1 that kind of leads to believe that there's going to be a volume 2.
Most likely. I mean, that's definitely something we're hoping to do. Like, because like I said, we enjoy doing this stuff. It could always be a Mel Brooks History of the World Part 1 that never has a Part 2. But I think we'll put something together.
Oh yeah,
it'll be something that kind of works into the rotation of album releases.
So what's what's your guitar choice, man? I mean, as far as like electric and then acoustic.
Oh man. Well, currently I'm playing a couple of PRSs. I love them. I mean, for what they are, they're just solid guitars. They have great tone. They're workhorses, but they also sound great in the studio. I mean, there's a lot of great guitars out there. We've been chopping around different companies that we might want to work with, and there's a few that have really stood out. But yeah, I've really been leaning into my PRSs. They've been my workhorses for probably the last 10 years.
Okay, and how about acoustic?
Acoustics. Well, I mean, I guess you can't see it. I have an Epiphone on the wall back here that I've had forever. That I love. It was like $100 and it sounds great, and I take it everywhere. But I think if I was to spend as much money as it took to get a guitar, I've really just loved the way that Taylors feel. I mean, obviously everybody loves the sound of Taylors, but there's just something about the way they play. It's just real silky smooth that I like.
Yeah. I my first interview, actually, a guy named Tom Fuller out of Chicago, and he opened up for Tesla here in Columbus, and I ended up getting an interview with him, but not them. I met him at the hotel and everything, and he was sponsored by Taylor Guitars. Could not stop raving about him. Cool ass dude. He says, I'm pretty open to questions. Just don't ask me how old I am. Okay. But yeah, I was so damn nervous that I forgot to turn the microphone on. So
oh no,
it was a bunch of hand gestures and shit, and I was like, man. So I kind of got over that about, I would say, I think you're my 74th or 75th interview. I think I got over that about 25 interviews ago, because for the longest time, man, I'd get nervous and stuff, and it's more of, I know you guys do interviews all the time, and you guys got ones that are really in depth, and you guys, this and that. And I do my way, which is, we touch a little bit about you and your band and, what instruments you like, a couple personal questions or whatever. But I mean, in general, I just like talking to musicians. I just like, I have a profound love for music. I actually posted the other day, I think it was yesterday, I was watching this video where Luke Combs was here at the Horseshoe, the Ohio State Buckeye Stadium. And he flew a girl in from California and her family because she wanted to meet him. And he flew them in. She's got leukemia. So brought her out on the stage, sat her down on a stool next to him, and played a song. And like right at the end of it, You have to check it out. It's on YouTube, man. It's freaking killer. Or your Facebook. Right at the end of it, he says, "Okay," he says, "I'm going to do this part of it, and I want the crowd to do this." And I mean, just 60,000 people, and the girl's face was just the expression. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, and it was like, all I could say was in my caption was, "The power of music is amazing."
Yep.
I mean, who knows what's going to happen with this girl? She could have a short life, she could have a long life, but either way, music and a musician just made her life right there.
Yeah, for sure.
You
Now,
know,
I definitely put music in the same category with food, where because you think about all the big like U.S. dominated like music that covers the world, and people that don't speak English love this music, and it really speaks to them and invokes feelings and stuff. Like I think it
mhm.
really is one of those universal kind of things.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. And I think it keeps going in different directions. I feel like, kind of feel like new metal's kind of sticking around. Um, I've interviewed a couple bands recently that have a 90s hair metal sound. And I'm like, man, you guys are my cup of tea. That's what I grew up on, Poison, Warrant, all that good stuff. And I'm like, oh, I love it. And it's just, but I mean, I've done so different. I've gone from, you know, when I was little, I listened to like my dad had 8 tracks. And one 8 track that I remember that he had it was a band called Herb Albert and a Tijuana Brass.
Yes, Herb Alpert.
Yes. I remember that one just because I was like, wow, just the mesh of music that went into it, and it just captivated me, and I was just like, wow. And then, I mean, I listened to Michael Jackson, Pat Benatar, Duran Duran, and then, you know, I got introduced to rock, Boston, Kiss. I was like, oh shit, then metal, Metallica. I'm like, okay, so I have a very wide range of what I listen to, mainly rock, but I got kids, I got daughters, they're getting me in to the Korean, the K-pop, the um oh, what was that band? Harry Styles, whatever band he was in. What was
Oh,
that
One
band?
Direction.
One Direction, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's opened my eyes up, and doing interviews has opened my eyes up because I'm used to mainstream, rock and roll that I hear on the radio and stuff like that, and I've heard, including your band, I've heard so many good bands that if it wasn't for these publicists and if it wasn't for what I'm doing, I would have never heard it. I mean, you guys are over in Idaho, and I mean, it's not like Columbus, Ohio is going to say, hey, this is, Silent Theory from Idaho. Let's listen to, this song. I mean, they play what is mainstream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been great, dude. I mean, I love it. And, I tell you right now, I envy you because I wish I could play guitar. I appreciate you. I appreciate your music. It's, it's,
I
it,
just appreciate you listening and sharing. I mean,
hey,
that's
man.
that's half the battle. I mean, I
it,
love connecting with people, and that's kind of what I mean. I love playing live shows because I love being around people who also just love music. But it definitely helps when there's people like yourself out there doing the Lord's work and spreading the word.
Oh yeah, man. That's what I mean, it's been, like I said, it's been a great journey so far. And I'm trying to hit up a few bigger bands, like one publicist I work with, a band that I want to interview. It's going to be a live interview, is opening for Ted Nugent. So I was like, okay, let's see if I can get Ted. Well, Ted's busy, so whatever. But
Yeah,
the thing is that, you know, these are all like Ted Nugent. I mean, shit, man. One of my favorite song by that dude is Stranglehold. I mean,
that's
it's
a
just
great
long.
song.
Yeah, it's just long, drawn out, and cool as shit. And you know, I mean, it's YouTube, so fuck it. I mean, I remember as a kid listening to that, smoking a joint, just like, yeah, this is so cool. But it's I was trying to get him, and I did, and I'm not disappointed. I mean, I've got an interview. You know what I mean? I went to interview Saliva and ended up interviewing two other bands because they saw me doing them, and he's like, "Hey, man, you want to talk to us?" And I'm like, "Sure." I'm open to talk to anybody about anything. Like, I shit you not, Ice Cube is coming, and I'm like, "Man, I'm gonna hit that dude up." You know,
I mean, you don't know unless you ask.
right? So I mean, but it is. It's been great, dude. I mean, so like, what's next for you guys? I mean, you gonna release some more music, or are you just gonna chill out for a little bit, hit the road? What's next?
No, we've actually got a few songs that are already in the can, and then we're heading out this Saturday. Actually, we're heading to Wichita to hit the studio for a week, record a couple more songs. Um, I think what we're going to be doing is kind of, I mean, as much as it pains me because I'm an album guy, I grew up listening to CDs and vinyls, and I really like having those 10 songs that are perfectly curated to create that album, but that's just not the market we live in anymore.
No.
And so I think what we're going to be doing is just kind of releasing songs every couple months and keeping the content flowing and keeping engaging with people. Um, I mean, just with scheduling and stuff like that, Gordon didn't really pan out the summer, so we hit the studio hard again. Um, and so I think we're looking at like maybe some late fall tours. We're looking at spring tours already. But yeah, I think we'll just be constantly releasing songs and videos, and then once we hit 10 songs, we'll put them together and do a CD and release an album that way. But I think we'll just be constantly putting out new music.
Oh yeah. Okay, so as I explained, here comes the personal questions.
Okay.
So, one that is not like real personal. I'm not gonna be like anything stupid, but like, what's the like craziest thing that has ever happened to you guys while you was out on tour?
Ooh. I mean, the one that always seems to come to front of mind is we were on tour one time and we were playing in Indianapolis, unbeknownst to us, the same weekend as the Indy 500. So like downtown Indianapolis was a zoo, and then we were upstairs at the club and we played and we are hanging out and talking with people, and then apparently like this bar that was down the street had a party that got out of control, and we were kind of like peeking out and just like, oh man, there's a bunch of people out there. Oh man, they're getting a little unruly. And then we looked out and there was like riot police like forming at the end of the block and like getting tear gas and their shields and everything. We're like, all right guys, no offense, but we gotta get the fuck out of here. So we went and hopped on the bus and like beat it out of there. But that was one of those like, you hear about that stuff, but you don't expect to be in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was always a fun one to think about.
So, like, as a musician, what is one of the greatest feelings that you've ever had when it comes to your music?
I think this is going to be a two-parter for me. The one that really impacts me the most, I think, is when we get comments or emails or just talking to people at shows and stuff, and like hearing all the different ways that our music has impacted people's lives, and like just so many people are like, I was in a really dark place, and your music like spoke to me in such a way that whatever it was, but it's really cool to be, because I know how music did that for me when I was growing up. Even as an adult, I know how music does that for me. Sometimes you just hear the right song at the right time, and so it's really special for me to be able to contribute to that for people.
Nice.
And then I think I had another one and I completely spaced on it. So
Yeah, I mean, it just
I remember what it was.
What is it?
The first time is the one thing that I will never ever forget, except for when I just forgot what I was going to tell you. It was the first time we were playing a show, and it was a big, like, we have a bunch of venues here called the Knitting Factories. They're like decent sized venues, and we were playing a show, and it was a packed crowd, and we started playing Fragile Minds because that was our big song at the time, and it was the first time that like crowds, especially a big one, like started singing our songs back to us. Like, I don't know, like that one like touched me deeper than I thought. I didn't know I had those feelings inside me. Like,
Right.
that was pretty special.
Yeah, it's quite crazy because I was at a concert not too long ago, and um, I got this just I forget who it was and what song it was. But like I had been waiting. Oh, Tesla. I took my stepdaughter. She is 17. I was like, I want to introduce you to some good music because you're showing me K-pop and shit. You're gonna listen to some Tesla. So they played Love Song, and I was like, I was pretty awesome, geared up for that. Or no, it wasn't Love Song. It was down, 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 down. Oh my god, I can't think of the name of the song. So I'm just gonna smack myself here in a second. What you give? Okay, and I run out there. I'm like, is this sweet? But then they did Love Song. Frankie was just sitting there. He was just playing a little bit of this and that, and then he busted into it. And after the song came on, or after the song was done, this guy beside me, he slaps my arm, and I'm like, yeah. And he's like, dude, what I just saw was one of the greatest things ever. I said, what? He's like, the smile on your face when that song came on. He's like, you smiled the whole time. You sang with it the whole time. He's like, I'm like, man, you have no idea. I was like, I've been waiting so many years to see Tesla. Like, I was supposed to see him when they were on the Psychotic Supper tour with Firehouse in
Oh wow.
Columbus, and something happened. I wasn't able to go. Every time I was supposed to see them, something happened. I wasn't able to go. Finally, this time I went. And man, it was worth every freaking minute, dude. I mean, they were phenomenal, but I mean, it did. It just when I heard those beginning chords on that acoustic, I was like, oh my God, here it is. I'm like slapping my daughter's arm, like, look, So I mean, it is, man. It's I mean, that's a song that came out in the 80s, late 80s, and still gets me excited. And I mean, that's what's great about music, man. I mean, just like, some of I mean, you talk about the songs that you made, back in 2016 that are still, generating, it's staying power.
Yeah.
And that's, I think as an artist, that's freaking something that would just, make me smile all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's nuts because we were super excited when Fragile Minds had come out and it hit like 100,000 views on YouTube. We're like, that's awesome. Like, we're never going to do better than this. And here we are, however many years later, and it's over 20 million views and still creeping. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's amazing that it's been able to just continually like reach people and have an impact.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, people in Germany and whatever, I mean, is reaching all over the world. And I
Yeah.
mean, who knows? Maybe you guys would be like David Hasselhoff over there in Germany.
God, I wish that guy had fantastic hair. I think those days are behind me, but
Yeah, yeah, me too.
yeah, just
So, but no, it just, I mean, like I said, man, I just, I call it Let's Talk Music for a reason because I like to talk to musicians about music. Let's just hit one more. You know, the most cliche question there is, who's your
okay.
influences?
My personal influences, I definitely have to say the Beatles were a huge impact on me when I was growing up. I love the whole collection. My favorite album is actually Hard Day's Night. So not even like their heavier rock stuff. It just
Right.
I don't know. The first album I ever bought with my own money, I went halvesies with a friend and we bought Dookie on cassette by Green Day. The first
Wow.
like CD I ever bought with my own money was Limp Bizkit's $3 bills, y'all. And let's see, the first album that really got me into like heavy rock and showed me that there's a lot of talent and just love that goes into really heavy rock was I know it's controversial, but the Black Album by Metallica, and then I
Hmm.
found the rest of their collection. But like, I mean, those guys wrote the heaviest metal songs about literary classics, and people loved it. It's like
Hmm.
it
And
takes a
didn't even
special
know
person to
it.
do that. Yeah, and
Yeah, I
then
mean,
and then I think the
For whom the bells tolls, an Edgar Allan Poe
yeah
story, and then the Call to Cthulhu. I know that's based on another story. I can't remember who the author is, but yeah, I mean,
I mean they got me to read a book that was very hard to read when I was in 10th grade, but their song One was written off a Dalton Trumbo book called Johnny Got His Gun, and it's a
Yeah,
great book, but man, it's confusing.
the movie's
It's
good
split
too.
into two parts, and the first half, like the guy is like blown up and I can't figure out if he's alive or dead. So it keeps going from like dreams to daydreams to memories and stuff. And you're just like, wait, hold on. Like, are we awake? Are we dreaming? Is this real? But
Yeah.
that, yeah, I mean, but then I
Yep.
think the band that really stuck with me the most when I first started really getting into playing music was, again, not everybody's favorite, but like Blink 182 and some of those pop punk bands. Like really what I took away from them was that it's important to have fun when you're playing music. Like their music was kind of sloppy and it wasn't super technically difficult and stuff, but like those guys were always out there having a good time and just putting a ton of energy into their shows. And I don't know. I think you got to respect the fans and give them a show when they pay money to come see you.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I shit. I like a few Blink 182 songs. I like the small things, dance floor anthem. I mean, and it dance floor anthem especially. I mean, it's a feel good song.
Yeah,
It's about, hey, I just lost my significant other, and I mean, it even says it. Find another. It's just the whole thing behind it. And I mean, I remember when it came out, being at bars and stuff, and I mean, every chick in there was shaking her ass. It's I mean, when you're a rock band and you can get chicks to shake their butts like that, that are listening to like, pop music and rap and stuff, then you're doing something right.
yeah,
So, but yep, I mean, I'm looking forward to some new stuff from you guys. Like I talked with Tracy this weekend. I'm gonna on my website write a review on your album. It's pretty much gonna consist of you guys sucking and stuff. But no, I'm just kidding.
makes
But
sense.
if you watch my interview with otherwise, it's funny because I was like, man, you guys put on a hell of a live show. And he's like, we're holding the microphone. He looks at me and says, so Matt, we didn't suck. I was like, no, you didn't suck. He's like, we did not suck. I'm like, no, you guys were great. It was quite comical, but shit, by the end of the interview, he's like, man, I'm already like 7 shots into it. I'm sorry if I messed up. I was like, he was fine, dude. I mean, that's what I like, is that rawness. I don't want you to put on, your interview persona or your, whatever. I want you to be you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I mean,
for
like,
sure.
it is what it is, buddy. I mean, this is real shit. I don't try to beef my stuff up or anything like that. I don't try to, I just want people to know who you are. Like I've told other people, I mean, obviously 2.9 million people know who you are, but um, I mean, it just I want to be doing a podcast starting late September, maybe early October. It's mainly going to be showcasing, actually, pretty much going to be showcasing independent artists. Because I can actually, you can send me a track, an MP3 or an MP4, whatever, and I can stick it on there and I can play it out on the radio, and I don't get a copyright problem.
Right.
So, I mean, that's what's great about it. So, but anyways, brother, I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
It was good talking to you. Again, freaking love your guys' music. Looking forward to some new stuff. Um, I'll shoot. I know you guys aren't much into Facebook or whatever, but I'll send you a message or whatever, giving you links to my my pages and whatnot, and
Absolutely.
we can communicate through social media. And man, just keep doing what you're doing. You guys are shit. You guys are doing great.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, and if anybody's interested, they can check out silenttheory.com. We have, all of our tour dates. We'll have releases of all the music there. There's links to all of our social medias. We're pretty much everywhere you can find music online, all the streaming platforms, social medias, and stuff like that. And then if you're feeling so inclined, we also have a merch store that you can find there. We have some pretty sweet hats, shirts, stuff like that, always changing out designs. So yeah, like I said, silenttheory.com, check it out.
Hell yeah, man. There's the plug. Hey, yeah, man, I appreciate you. Like I said, man, thank you for your time this evening, and good luck with the porch,
Thank
and
you.
enjoy your evening, buddy.
All right, you as well.
All right, man. Later.